All right. We should be live. Let me double check to make sure. Let's see. All right.
All right.
Okay. Got me. That's cool. All right there. So let's just get into it. Let's see where we're at. Pull up the chapter. Okay. So, what's up, y'all? So, let's just get straight into the chapter because I, on one hand, like how we left off last time, and we pretty much just got like a big tease back in chapter, what was it, 423? We got like a big tease, and so I don't know if we're going to continue on going on with Arthur. I mean, we've been getting consecutive chapters with Arthur, so I'm not really sure if we're going to continue on with his story or if we're going to move on to go somewhere else. I wouldn't be surprised if we moved on. I mean, we've been pretty fortunate in getting so many chapters with the Arthur and the Relic Tombs, and we got, him meeting the fourth gen, and then what was it, the third gen? I think it was the third, or I guess you can say fourth gen because he met the third one because the insight and the keystone was taken a long time ago, apparently. But yeah, I don't know if we're going to continue on with this or we're going to move on to somewhere else. I would like to continue, where we left off, where he's in the Beast Glaze and Aldir's there. I would guess Ren's there, and some other Asoras and stuff. So let's just see. I haven't heard anything about the chapter. No spoils for me, but the changing narrative. So I kind of figured that we wouldn't continue. I kind of figured. So the chapter's super cool. All right, cool. I'm not even gonna ask the question. I'm not even gonna. I was gonna ask like, oh, we're gonna go back to Arthur a little bit. Nope. I see Cecilia, so we're going with Cecilia. So we're gonna just go with that. Cecilia is where we're at. But let's see where we go from here. I mean, we're at Cecilia, so I mean, I guess we're gonna see how she feels about, I guess, knowing the truth about what really happened with her dying, even though she doesn't know the full truth, but she knows kind of like her perspective on, all the things that she said, and Arthur's not as evil as she's been told and stuff. So let's just see. Let's see where we go, and hopefully my reading skills are a lot better today than it was last time. But okay, okay. Let's get started. So, and here we are once again. I said, glancing to my left. Nico was flying next to me as we hovered through. It's kind of like, so it's not even continuing on from where they last ended with her like in recovery and whatnot. So time must have gone by. I wonder where she's at. Nico was flying next to me as we hovered just outside the protective barrier surrounding the western half of Sesklar. Behind us, 20,000 loyal Alacrian soldiers filled the streets of. I hate these fucking names because I don't know how to pronounce them. Rosier. I struggled with this for a while. I'm gonna just say Rosier. The city spanning the two distinct halves of Dominion. The translucent shield neatly bisected it. It was nearly down. A cool breeze blew in from the Vutra's moss sea, tugging at the silvery gray hair I've never gotten around to dyeing. She wanted to dye her hair. That's Man, Tessia, she'd throw a fit. She fucking woke up with her hair dyed black or some shit. Anyway, the shield itself seemed different to my eyes now, whereas before it was an inexplicable manolith. Let me see how you pronounce this. Yeah. Oh shit. I just messed up. How do I get off of this? Okay. Now I can see it clearly. The signs of basilisk mana were obvious. Wait, so I guess see, I wonder if she can see this differently now because she got the Phoenix mana, or can she see this differently now because she's got the basilisk mana? Because now she's seeing the basilisk mana, she said, where it's obvious as a blood stain and its underlying was structure easily observed. Hmm. It's got to be because of the basilisk mana, right? Because, or maybe I don't know. I guess it could be because of the Phoenix, but I'm gonna just guess it's because of the basilisk mana. The signs of basilisk mana were obvious. It's blood stain. All right. On the other side of the shield, I could sense only a meager resistance. Pockets of traitorous rebels were dug into defensible positions throughout the city, but we outnumbered them 5-1. Oh, it's a lot of them. Sarah's knew I was coming, I told Nico. So she's continuing on with this bullshit, even though she found out the truth. So I guess it doesn't matter to her, apparently. Yeah, so I told Nico she's pulling her forces back. She pulled her forces back. Nico was quiet. We barely spoken since he ran out of my bedroom after our conversation. I purposefully avoided thinking about the lie we now shared and the truth that I was keeping from him. But I wasn't ready to take the risk of divulging what I'd learned. Not yet. So she doesn't trust him, which is basically what this says. And she's also, protective of him because he's no little Nico. He's so sensitive. Anyway, turning suddenly, I flew higher so all my forces would be able to see me. When I spoke, my voice came from everywhere at once. Each molecule of atmospheric mana, my bullhorn. Warriors, today you fight for the spirit of your continent. This isn't a war, but a reclamation. These traitors have attempted to fracture Alacria itself by sowing lies and discord. But look, I waved at the opposing half of the city. Mana flared as it peeled away from the giant shield and drifted towards the pockets of resistance, making those few thousand men and women glow and highlighting the small size of the force. Even they know the fight is already lost. The bulk of their force has already fled. A distant but thunderous roar came back to me, 20,000 voices raised in a deafening battle cry. With a flourish, I twirled and pressed one hand against the barrier. The power of a sovereign was laced through the hundreds of miles of protective force. Hundreds of miles. That is crazy. I mean, we knew that it was huge, but like hundreds of miles, that's wild. Hundreds of miles of protective force pushing out against the rest of the world. My consciousness traced the lines of it all the way back to Edelgard, down the network of mana conductive material to the heart of Ceres's machine, to Orloth Vitra himself. I could sense him, the battery on which all this operated, but that was all. I had no sense of what they had done to him. Okay. This time, when I turned my senses toward the mana, it reacted. So she couldn't control it before, or she could barely control it. She could barely push it in, but now she is reacting every time. Well, it's reacting whenever she wants it to. So this time I turned my senses toward the mana. It reacted like leaves growing towards the sunlight. The individual mana particles that made up the barrier drew toward me, and the entire structure shivered. Curling my fingers, I gouged them into the shield. When I withdrew my hand, a fistful of immaterial energy came away with it, sparkling like fireflies in the pre-dawn gloom. I opened my hand and let the mana pour through my fingers, where it dissolved into its base form. The hole in the shield expanded, the edges flaring with flickering white light. The light crawled over the luxurious surface, and the hole expanded, picking up speed with each passing second. So I wonder what's the plan now. So she's trying to get through the shield, or she's getting through the shield pretty much with ease. And so Sarah's had to know the shield was only just to buy time. I think she said it was only meant to buy time for like Arthur or something. And so she's got to have some sort of plan. I mean, maybe nobody's even there. Maybe it was just to buy time, and then everybody that's strong that she has, they all went to, fled to another place, I'm guessing, because we don't really know for sure. But let's see. So the hole in the shield expanded, picking up speed each second. Even though my soldiers couldn't see my face, I arranged my features into an expression of calm determination. I was a leader at the head of an army, not a child like Sarah's thought. Whatever she was hiding, I hoped she could see this. What she had labored for years to create, I had just unmade in an instant. The gap in the shield grew until it was a few hundred feet wide, opening the way for my soldiers, but I didn't immediately call for the charge. My gaze followed the receding edge until, with a suddenness that surprised even me, the shield burst like a bubble. Wait, what? The gap in the shield grew, and then they charged. My gaze followed the receding edge until, with a suddenness that surprised even me, the shield burst like a bubble. So it's just pop. Maybe the pop means that she kind of released it. She was like, there's no point of draining them anymore, and shields, she's going to get through. There's no point. So let me just turn it off. And maybe that's the reason why it popped. Anyway, so the High Sovereign has proclaimed that any mage, unadorned, or slave who has turned their back on this continent is unfit to live on. Give no quarter. I took a slow, deep breath. Attack. The spring snap noise of catapults firing followed my order like an exclamation as imbued ammunition arced through the air. Past where the shield had been, that crashed among the buildings in the western half of the city. Condensed stones burst apart, sending out deadly shrapnel for dozens of feet. Barrels of flammable liquid shattered and sprayed their surroundings, which ignited instantly, setting the city on fire. Clusters of mana crystals spread out in wide arcs, exploding from the force of their landing and collapsing entire structures. I mean, so they're destroying the buildings. They're just like, so pretty much anybody who supported her and betrayed them, no mercy. They're all getting killed, which means that, I mean, I guess the people shouldn't surrender at this point because there's no mercy. So they're going to just get killed. So I don't know. I'm really curious to see like what sort of resistance they get, because so far she hasn't gotten any resistance. It's just been a few troops that's just kind of sitting there. So let's see. So clusters, so it collapsed in entire structures. A shockwave of noise and mana rippled past me. Enemy shields sprang up all over, and there was a flurry of return fire and counterspells. A blue bolt of lightning shot up from the ground, aimed at me. When I reached out to the mana, it froze. This bitch, man. Like, I still don't know. I don't know. Cecilia is such a big, not even a trump card. She's like the X factor that could like turn the tides on all this shit. She could like, I don't know. I don't know, man. She is just such a anomaly. So anyway, lightning comes up. She makes it free. She can just. I mean, she's like the queen of mana. She can just. Man, that's just crazy. But she doesn't control ether though. She's powerless towards ether though. So she still has a weakness. So enemy shields spring up, blah, 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 dozens of smaller, something. Wait. Okay, so a bolt of blue lightning shot up from the ground, aimed at me. I reached out to the mana, it froze, a jagged, dancing line of electricity hanging in the air. A wave ran along the length of the lightning bolt, starting at the end, hovering 50 feet below me, and raced down toward the ground. Dozens of smaller bolts exploded outward from the point of impact, and I sensed several mana signatures go dark. Something squirmed uncomfortably in my guts. Better a quick death in battle than weeks of torture and starvation in the depths of Tigran Kalem, I thought. See, how are you just so cool with this? Like, oh, well, better a quick death than getting tortured. You're cool with torture? You're cool. You're just cool with that. Like, I mean, this shit, man. Like, I just don't understand her personality. It's like she's still not her yet. Like, we've gotten we've gotten what happened? She's gotten some of the, she's able to not get brainwashed by Grona anymore. She's gotten the basilisk mana now, so she can separate the memories, the false memories from the real memories. But she's still this like psychopathic, no morality, I do whatever Grona wants me to do person. And the only thing that she doesn't like just follow Grona's every whim is when it comes to Nico. When it comes to Nico, she doesn't follow everything he says. But anybody else, she follows everything that he says. And so it's just like that's how she's rationalizing it. Oh, better a quick death than getting tortured. You're cool with torture? Like you was never cool with torture back in the day. Like you were tortured. So like, you know, I don't get it. Nico was tortured. It's just I don't understand at all. Her character is just a question mark. But anyway, so better a quick death than weeks of torture and starvation. There's no reason for us to linger here, Nico said, drawing me back into the battle. Our side will have this cleaned up quick enough without our assistance. Melsry's there. Melsry was leading a force, and I know Melsry. It's been a minute. Melsry was the one that has like that dark like wind. She was the one that was fighting Veray with the illusions. She was the one that does the illusions. Was leading the force from the west to capture Sarah's base of operations in Sandarine is what I'm gonna call it. While Drogoth and the soldiers from Vekir patrolled the Vitra's Maw to prevent a mass retreat. Looking down towards the center of my soldiers, formation on the ground, I said, what is that? Ekarian? You're in command. I don't know how to pronounce that. You have your orders. My voice traveled on the wind directly to Drogoth's retainer ears. Yes, Legacy, sounded his response, wispy and distant. Wispy and distant. I looked at Nico and nodded. Let's not waste any more time then. Flying higher up, we spent northward as we crested the cliffs from Rosire. Several dozen spells, bolts, and jets of green, blue, red, and black magic flew from a series of covered bunkers. Grunting in annoyance, I grasped the threads of each spell, man, and pulled. I mean, it's similar to what Arthur does, though. Dragging the spells off course. Although he need more practice, though. We only seen him do it that one time against the Wraiths, but we haven't seen him do any more practicing when it comes to like being able to control other people's spells. So she's way more efficient at it than he is, though. I grasped the threads of each spell and pulled, dragging the spells off course and forcing them to cluster in the air in front of us. Nico's staff flat. Oh yeah, his staff, man. I forgot he got that incredible staff that he just created to manipulate all of the elements. Flashed from red light and slashed it through the air in front of him. Is that retina? Retina? I don't know what that word is. Searing balls of blue fire bombarded the bunkers, shattering their shields and collapsing the reinforced structures on the mages. The structures on the mages within, condensing all the gathered spells into a storm of multi-elemental bullets. I sent them hurtling back down at the smoldering remains of the bunkers, snuffing out the few remaining mana signatures I could detect. Nico held his position for a moment, watching for any more activity, but I could tell the substructure beneath was clear. Come on, these soldiers are unimportant. Our real target is waiting for us in Edelgard, unless she's already fled. This is a token defense, Nico said thoughtfully, as if he'd heard what I said. Even discounting the presence of any scythes or retainers, or you, such a I think that's meager fortification wouldn't have held for even a day against our superior numbers. So where are her armies? Yeah, this is just. I think they retreated. They retreated, man. It was just to buy time, and so I don't know. I wonder where she's at though. Where is Saris? Because she's not here at all. So we'll find out soon enough, I imagine. I answered, speeding forward. I sensed him follow after me. The wind spell he used to replicate flight, pushing him along in my wake. The countryside north of Rosaire was dotted with small settlements and private estates, but no additional fortified locations. We fled at, or we flew. I'm saying fled. We flew at top speed, north and west. And as we approached San Darine, yeah, I felt the battle long before I could see it. Nico and I kept slightly east of the city, not intending to involve ourselves in the battle, where Melsry and Mawar, it might be Mawar, would have things tightly in hand. Although Nico and I could have breached the shield near Edelgard as I had before, avoiding hundreds of miles of flight, the bulk of our army had to attack over ground from Rosire, and I had wanted them to see me break the shield. In addition, so she wanted to like see him break the shield for like I guess morale or whatever, for them to know her power. In addition, it had been an opportunity to sweep the length of the Dominion, making my presence known to the people, citizenry and citizenry. That's interesting, and rebel mages alike. Still, I was anxious to put an end to things by the time we reached Adelgard, where Sarah's compound and the shield's source of energy were. So I wonder when they actually get there. I wonder if Orloth is actually going to be there. Like, is he going to just be there and go back to the Vritra? Because if she does leave him there, then I mean that's a big power up for the Vritra having because not only is he an Asura, but he's also like I think I think Agrona said that he was like one of the smartest or he's like one of the most calculated people. So he probably has a bunch of military strategies and like different schemes and shit that he can add. I don't know. So let's see if he's actually going to be there. So Saris was, I think that Wiley, a survivor, and I doubted I would find her standing on the balcony of her estate waiting for me. After all, she had managed to outwit and capture a sovereign. When the city came into sight, I was surprised to see smoke and fire rising from several different locations throughout. A potent mana signature radiated from the city's eastern edge. Dragoth already moved in. Nico noted sourly, glancing at me. I kept my expression impassive, unimportant. I mean, she's acting like she's a fucking military veteran. Like, I don't understand this. Like, she didn't have. I mean, maybe it was a training that she got in her past life, but like, she was not this military, unemotional soldier that's just sent out to annihilate any enemy. Like it's like she acts like she's not even human. I kept my expression impassive, unimportant, as long as he hadn't let Sarah slip away by disregarding his duties. All sides, except Nico, of course, were bitter and frustrated with my position. They scrambled for whatever small acclaim they could find, each of them hoping to replace Cadell as Agrona's right hand and prove themselves worthy of their station. It was no surprise that Drogoth had taken this opportunity to win a victory for himself, but it hardly mattered. Given the scale of the coming war, the sides were no longer relevant in my eyes. That's so wild, bro. The sides are no longer relevant. Like, okay. As we approached Sarah's estate, looking over the Vitramal Sea, I finally caught sight of Drogoth. He was flying over the estate, his eyes crossed, watching us approach. With his sprawling horns and incredible bulk, he looked like a side of beef hanging on the rack. You're out of position, Drogoth, Nico snapped once we were close enough to speak. Drogoth floated up a foot or so in order to look down his nose at Nico. I had a resource in the city before the shields fell, who informed me of a rush of activity. Since your tour of Dominion delayed you, I thought it best to lock down the city. He gave me a sneering nod. To prepare for your arrival, of course, Legacy. Vecker ships and soldiers are still patrolling the sea, but if the rats are fleeing their sinking or are fleeing their sinking vessel, we haven't seen them. Perhaps that's because you can't see beyond the confines of your own ass, I thought. Out loud, I asked, has there been any signs of such of Ceres? Drogoth shook his head. The lower depths of the estate are shielded. However, she may be hiding down there. If I know her, she'll have some trick up her sleeve. I don't care what she tries, I said, not trying to hide my irritation with the Vecurian scythe. This is over. Indeed. The fact that I was able to turn one of her own suggests she's lost her touch. Oh yeah. They're talking about I didn't even know he was talking about. He's talking about what's his face? Help me out. What was his name? That worked with Dragoth. He was one of Sarah's little pets, and not Cecilia, it was Kara. Kara's the one that was able to escape him. Fuck, I can't think of his name at all. But anyway, where is that? Blah blah. So she's lost her touch, made blah blah. Where am I at? If I know her, she has some trick up her sleeve. I don't care what happens. Indeed, the fact that I was able to turn one of her own. Yeah, Wolfram. There you go. Thank you, Wolfram. That's what I'm talking about. Yep, that's the one that he had planted before the shields went down that he's talking about. Okay, so the fact that I was able to turn one of her own suggests she lost her touch, made weak-kneed by some unblooded nobody from the other. Wait. What is he saying? The fact that I was able to do this, made weak-kneed by some unblooded nobody from the other continent. No wonder she's fallen so far. He obviously he has met Arthur, so is he really calling him like a nobody after what he's seen? Like he literally watched him kill Cadell, like, and then not only kill Cadell, but get away from Agrona, which is his master. But he's calling him what? He's calling him a weak knee by some unblooded nobody. That's what he's calling him. Like that's crazy. The blasphemy. Tipping toward the ground. I flew to one of my own balconies of the estate. Oh, one of the open balconies of the estate. Dragar soldiers were ransacking the place, dragging out anything of value and tossing it into piles. One particular mage caught my eye. He was standing at attention as if waiting for our arrival. His appearance was generally unremarkable, but there was a strange duality to him. On one side, he had a red eye. Okay, he has a red eye and a short horn that stuck up from his black hair. But on the other side, his eyes was brown and the horn had been shattered. Oh, that's Wolfram. That's Wolfram. Leaving only a jagged stump half hidden. Still, he didn't flinch at our arrival. Like most of the soldiers, instead, he fell into step beside and just behind Dragoth like he belonged there. Several mages broke away from whatever else they'd been doing and took up formation around the two. What have you discovered here, Wolfram? Dragoth asked. We followed most of the mana. Is that cabling? Cabling down several levels, but haven't managed to bypass the door at the bottom. We presumed it led into whatever was powering the shield. The Ritra-born man said in confident, slightly nasally voice. Take us to the door, Dragoth said, then amended, if that is what the legacy wishes. The level of respect, man. Like, it's crazy how powerful she is, yo. That's just so wild. Like, man. And this happened like super quick. Like it took Arthur years to get to even White Core. And this bitch just comes in. Although I will say that Tessia was already at Silver Core, or I think she was Dark Silver Core or whatever. And then so like as soon as she came in, immediately White Core. So I mean, I don't know, man. Her level of like power acceleration is just is crazy. Anyway, if that's what the legacy wishes, I stopped and having walked through a large solar and into a connecting corridor covered in fanciful paintings. Instead of replying, I only waved a hand. The young man, Wolfram of High Blood Redwater, I now realized, hung his head and hurried past me, not meeting my eyes. He led us through several more rooms until we reached a steeply descending staircase. By the length of the time we followed the cramped stairwell down, I knew we must be deep into the cliffside under Sarah's home. The door in question was thick iron square inset into the wall. I mean, Cecilia is gonna easily break this down, right? Unless it's a trap, but Cecilia should easily get through this shield slash door or whatever. Only sign of how to open it was a dim mana crystal affixed to the wall nearby. Whatever magic is imbued into this door, we haven't been able to crack it, Wolfram said. I've sent for multiple imbuers to help us gauge. I could sense the mana inhabiting the crystal, as well as the stored mana in the device above the door that would drag it up into the wall. Let me reread this. I could sense the mana inhabiting the crystal, as well as the stored mana in the device above the door that would drag it up into the wall, and a series of clamps that held it firm on the bottom, preventing it from being forced. The door itself was heavily warded against magical force, but the attached mechanisms were reliant on inputs, mana input system, and so more easily manipulated by me, at least. Dispersing the mana, forcing the clamp shut. I activated. So let me dispersing the mana, forcing the clamp shut. So okay, I activated the chain mechanism. The door shifted slightly, making the floor vibrate. Then lifted up into the recess above it like a gentle hum. The space beyond, a laboratory of some kind, was lit with cool blue light from the huge glass cylinders full of glowing liquid. Incredible amounts of mana were suspended within the liquid, and it quivered at my presence. So the space beyond, a laboratory, was lit with cool blue light from huge glass cylinders full of glowing liquid. I guess the liquid is like the mana, because I know she has like a bunch of mana crystals. So she must be able to turn this mana crystal into some sort of like liquid. Yeah. What's up? You finally catch a live video. That's dope. I don't normally go live super often because I'm not always home, but I'm home this time, so I figured I'll get one up. But anyway, so let me continue. Wait out here, Nico ordered. The soldiers were stepping warily through the door. Dragov snorted. Don't presume to give my soldiers orders where I He caught my scowl, and I saw recognition draw slowly on Scythe Broad's face. That's what you call him, Scythe Broad. Stay here, man, he said, leaving unspoken the part Nico and I had already figured out. Whatever state Sovereign Orloff was in, he wanted as few people to see him as necessary. Glass tubes connected many of these cylinders to each other, and a variety of devices and artifacts attached to the walls. None of which made any sense to me. Blank projection crystals dotted the walls like sightless eyes among the other equipment. I glanced at Nico. His eyes were rapidly tracking across the lab, and his mouth hung open slightly. I wished for a second that I could have given him more time to enjoy that moment, but there was something much more pressing to take care of. Beyond the first rows of cylinders, the center of the lab was isolated by a dome-shaped shield. There was a smoky tinge to its coloration, and it was incredibly dense. Let me reread this. Beyond the first rows of cylinders, the center of the lab was isolated by a dome-shaped shield with smoky tinge to its coloration. Okay, but I recognize the source of mana. Walking forward, I moved between the bright blue, silently bubbling cylinders, and a larger tank came into view, right at the center of the shielded area. Orloff Richard was floating in it. What the hell? Was floating in it. The Sovereign had a wasted look to him, and his face was vapid and empty of thought or expression. At least he did on one of his heads. The other head was missing entirely. Wait, did she cut off his head last time? It's been a minute. Did she cut off his head, or is this new? I don't remember. I don't know. It's been a minute since I read the chapter with the fight. Did she cut off his head? Oh, Kara did. Oh, wait. Did she like have Kara do it as like her proof of like, was she gonna stand by her and stuff? I think that's what it was. It was like a test of some sort, like, okay. Okay, wow. Okay, wow. Yeah, it's been a minute. So he's floating. The other was entirely missing. Nothing remained but a bare stump of a neck that had healed over in a gory scar. Standing next to the tank, her pearl hair. Wait, what? Standing next to the tank, her pearl hair standing out against her black scaled battle robes was my prey. She's there. Oh my god, she's actually there. She's actually there. There's no way. There's no way she's just like chilling there, like just like all nonchalant, like just chilling. Like there's no way. Standing next to her, saying her pearl hair standing out against her black scale battle rose was my prey. I promised that I would come for you, Ceres, and here I am. The scythe game. This is. I'm shocked. She's just sitting there, just chilling, yo. She's got. It's got to be some sort of plan. Something. I don't know. This is crazy. This is crazy. Okay. Okay. See, now I'm hyped because I didn't expect her to be there. But she's got something up her sleeve, bro. There's no way she's just chilling there and not about to do some crazy shit. Like, there's no way. Because you got Dragoth there, Nico's there, Cecilia's there. Man, this is crazy. Okay. I promised I would come for you, Ceres, and here I am. The scythe gave me some frustrating, unflippable smile that I'd seen too many times before. Hey, Dragoth, said with a nod to Ceres, crossing his arm. Wait, no, that's hey. No, that's hey. What am I talking about? Hey, Dragoff said with a nod to Ceres. He literally just like, hey, like just. I don't know. Is Dragoff working with it? I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it. Dragoff said with a nod to Ceres, crossing his arms and leaning carelessly against one of the tanks. Ceres spared Dragoff only a passing glance before focusing on the young Richard Blood. Oh yeah, Wolfram's there too. All this time, Wolfram, did I really teach you so little? He raised his chin, glaring fiercely at the scythe. You taught me everything I needed to beat you, my mentor. That was all I ever needed from you. Man, there's no way she didn't know. There's no way she didn't know. Okay. Dragoff boomed with laughter. Big dumb Dragoff outplays the dangerous intellect of Ceres. Who would have thunk it, huh? Ceres picked at her fingernails absently as she regarded the pair from behind her shield. Hardly. I admit that my feelings are hurt, but it's better to have trusted and lost than to never. Wait, let me reread this. What is she saying? Hardly. I admit it that my feelings are hurt, but it's better to have trusted and lost than to never have had that potential at all. Besides, I believe that Kara was successful in her escape. Was she not? Enough, I snapped, stepping towards the shield, further irritated that Ceres had ignored me in favor of exchanging pointless jabs with an angry little boy. That's because she doesn't give a fuck about you, yo. I mean, she does, but this is all part of her game, though. She's trying to just irritate you to not even give. What is she doing? Like Ceres is like she's trying to ignore her to make her even more irritated to let her know that like you're not even worth my time because you're just some little girl who thinks she's powerful. I don't know. That's kind of my view. But I thought you were smart, Ceres, but you've backed yourself into a corner and you are now relying on an old trick that I already bested. I'm actually kind of disappointed considering the fearful reverence of all the other sides seems to hold you in. Before she could respond, I pushed my hand into the shield and ripped it apart. Or rather, I tried to, but it resisted me. Orloff still actively controls this mana, Sarah said, stepping closer to her side of the shield, just across from me. With it spread so thin and proceeded through, and proceeded and processed. Fuck am I saying? With it spread so thin and processed through relay after relay to reach the far corners of Susklar, his control over it weakened. But here, so close, she gestured at the what the hell is this? The comatose. Oh, comatose. God damn. I was like, what the hell? The comatose basilisk floating behind her. I think you'd find it much more difficult to wrest control away from him. I lashed out with my mind and mana, bringing to bear the full might of my power. So listen, before I even continue this, yo. So Ceres must have complete and utter faith in and Orloth and like what she knows about him. She must have been like, okay, so she's been planning on trapping Orloth for a while. There's no way that she just like, who am I gonna, trick and try to trap? She like strategically picked Orloth. And I think that she's been studying his control over mana and what he actually does, to where she's so supremely confident that she's not going to be able to get through this barrier, that she's willing to like just stay there and just chill. Like, I don't think she plans on fighting. I think maybe she's doing this to maybe have a conversation or something. I'm not really sure, but she's so confident in this that she had to have been doing tons of research and figuring out what Orloth's abilities are, how she can use it, using the mana crystals, coming up with all this stuff. Because she's been preparing to, betray Agrona for a while now. So it's just crazy how like well thought out this is, and like how much confidence she has in it, that she's got to have like a lot of research into this. Because I remember she said during the fight with, I know it wasn't a fight, it was after Arthur ended up, he was like trapped by the Cecilia's like square of like no mana or mana repelling whatever little cube she had made. I remember she was talking about her point of view, that she said that she could have taken Arthur and went into hiding or something like that, but that would be too risky. And then she said something about how she had some sort of plan to be able to like go into hiding for like a long time or something like that. So she's been planning this for a while. And so it's just crazy to me how much thought she's put into this. But anyway, let's see what her actual plan is. Like, what is her plan? She's just trying to have a conversation with somebody. Is she there to just try to irritate her? Is she there to just show that like I'm still in control? I'm not entirely sure, but let's see. So let's see, where was I? I think you'll find it much more difficult. I lashed out with my mind and mana, bringing to bear the full might of my power. Mana crashed against mana, and the shield trembled. It did not, however, break. Bring it down, I ordered, focusing all my power into lashing out again. Nico sent multi-elemental bullets and blood iron spikes into the shield on one side, while Dragoth conjured a jagged black warhammer wreathed in void wind and smashed it again and again into the barrier. Ceres could only give us a solemn, demeaning smile for our efforts. Man, Ceres is she's too much. For far too long, Alakria has served as, okay, but maybe she is trying to have a conversation. Maybe she's trying to do some recruiting. Let me see. For far too long, Alakria has served as the playground of mad gods, Sarah said, loud enough to be heard over the concussive blast of so many spells, but not speaking to any one of us in particular. Maybe she's speaking to their troops. Maybe that's what she's doing. Maybe she's speaking to their troops. I don't know. For far too long, Alakria has served as the playground of mad gods, Sarah said, loud enough to be heard over the concussive blast of so many spells, but not speaking to any one of us in particular. They breed people like beasts, assign us purpose at birth based only on purity of blood, and cast off any who do not meet their needs. But the truth of our daily lives is so much worse than that anyone knows. Besides me, Nico faltered as he looked around the room in confusion. Because all of this, our entire existence back to our blood's earliest known ancestors, was only to create a people strong enough that Agrona could step upon our backs as he reached towards his ultimate goal. Ceres continued, turning to her left, no longer even looking at us. Enough! I barked again. Back away! I ordered Nico, Dragoth, and the one-horned boar. Thrusting both hands forward, I pressed against the shield again. The laboratory went quiet, except for the incasient drowning of the equipment. Man, I need to look up this word, but I can't right now. Drowning of the equipment. Instead of pushing outward toward the mana in an attempt to control it, she's trying to draw it in. Oh shit! I drew it into me. A victorious grin spread across my face as the surface of the smoke-tinged shield swirled. Ceres was right. I couldn't break Orloth's ironclad hold over his mana. The Sovereign was far too powerful, but I could absorb it as I had done with the Phoenix and the Sovereign Kyros. Ceres had paused to watch me begin, and sadness overtook her features as she realized in truth that she'd lost. Sadness overtook her features as she realized in truth that she'd lost. Agrona has started a war with Ephiodus, the land of the gods. He doesn't expect you to win the fight with him, nor his future bloods, his size, or even his race. He will burn us all for fuel in the furnace of his ambition, because he doesn't want to be the lord of the lessers. He intends to be the king of the Asuras. Mana poured into me. I opened myself to it entirely, absorbing until I swelled to bursting. Ghostly flames wraithed me, flickering from my skin as I burned the mana I couldn't contain. You're wrong, I growled through the clenched teeth. I will win this war for him, and then I'll return home. Oh my God, this lady, chick, girl, I can't call her a lady. This girl is just something else, yo. Something else. I mean, is this manipulation, or is this just how she really feels? Like what? Like, he has no plans on keeping. Oh God. So tell me what you guys think. Like, is this manipulation? Like, is she being controlled? Is this part of her, like, memories that is just controlling Cecilia, or is she just really this dumb? Is she really this loyal to him just because he brought her back from the dead? Like, I just don't like. She's the most frustrating character in this. Like, she's getting to the point where she's more frustrating than Nico. Like, Nico's kind of like settled into like who he is now. Cecilia, I don't know who the fuck she is at all. I don't even know. She's a mystery. I don't know. I don't know who she is. But God Lord. He intends to be the king of the Asuras. You're wrong. I will win this war for him, and then I'll return home. I will say this though. I wouldn't put it past him to be able to send her back home, but send her back home in what body? Her body's gone. What is going to inhabit a new body and just go back home? I mean, if he could bring her back, I think that he could probably send her back, or back to her home. But why would he? Well, why would he? If he needs her to even take over Ephiodus, and I talked about this before, if he needs her to take over Ephiodus, why would he send her back? Like, that's his biggest trump card. That's his powerful sword. Like, as long as he has her and she becomes as powerful as he wants her to be, as long as she has her or he has her, nobody's gonna be able to fuck with him. So why would he send her back? It doesn't make any sense. He'll keep her around. Like, that's it. Maybe try to develop some way to completely brainwash her, but he'll keep her around as like his ultimate sword. Like, that's it. Because as soon as she leaves and goes back to her world, he's vulnerable again. It don't make sense. Oh God. Maybe she's just really this dumb. Maybe she's just really this dumb. That's what I think. Because I can't use the manipulation shit anymore because she got rid of all of it. So this is her. I don't know. Cecilia, Nico said, sounding uncomfortable as he took a step back from me. Sarah turned her head in my direction, brows raised slightly. Oh, Lady Cecilia, legacy born of another world, forgive me. Did you think I was speaking to you? Her eyes widened slightly. Then she resumed facing away from me. See, here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing that's so crazy because I guess Cecilia's only thinking about herself. So if Sarah says right now, did you think I was talking about you? I was talking about everybody else. He's going to cherish you. He's going to hold you like a fucking, I don't know, a piece of brittle glass that can easily be shattered. Like, he's going to take care of you and handle you with soft hands, right? But everybody else is going to die. Everybody else is going to be, burst into flames. He's going to step on them to get to where he wants to be. Are you okay with that, Cecilia? Well, I guess I am, as long as it's not Nico. Like, it's just fucking stupid, man. It's just fucking stupid. I'm ranting, okay? Just, ugh. She frustrates the hell out of me, okay? She frustrates me. Okay. Oh lady Cecilia, legacy born of another world. Forgive me. Did you think I was speaking to you? Her eyes widened slightly. Then she resumed facing away from me. At the same time, several projection crystals lit up around the laboratory. Faltered as I saw the image reflected in several screens. Sarah seen through a dim gray haze, looking solemnly into the recording artifact. While beside her, I swatted under an asura of colorless. While beside her, I sweated under an asura of colorless flames, tugging against her shield like a baby trying to take his first step. Then the picture changed, showing the stairway outside the lab. Let me reread this. Maybe I'm not understanding. I faltered as I saw the image reflected in several screens. Sarah seen through a dim gray haze, looking solemnly into the recording artifact. While beside her, I sweated under an asura of colorless flames, struggling against her shield like a baby trying to take his first step. Then the picture changed, showing the stairway outside the lab, focusing on the discomforted expressions of my soldiers as they exchanged glances or backed away. Then again, this time on Sovereign Orlas's mindless, slack-jawed face. What is this? I asked, feeling my face redden as I realized that Sarah had sprung some kind of trap after all, but not yet understanding what it was. Am I confused? Am I confused? I faltered as I saw the image. Then the picture changed, showing. So she's using a recording artifact, showing the stairway outside the lab, focusing on the discomforted expressions of my soldiers as they exchanged glances or backed away. So yeah, she's talking to the soldiers, right? I kind of figured that. Then again, this time on the Sovereign Orlas's mindless, slack-jawed face. What is this? I asked, feeling my face redden as I realized Sarah had sprung some kind of trap after all, but not yet understanding what it was. She's projecting this. No shit. That's why she's not looking at y'all. She's not talking to you. What? Y'all didn't know this? She's not looking at any one of you, and she's talking as if she's talking to a crowd of people. She's talking to your soldiers. Idiots. What the fuck? She's projecting this, Nico said, looking from panel to panel. But to, oh no. Hear me, Alacria, Sarah's continued, projecting. I'm thinking this is something more complicated. Like she's just projecting it. Hear me, Alacria, Sarah's continued, projecting her voice as if giving a speech. Do not believe the lies you've been told. Anytime an Alacrian dares to voice opposition to this cruel regimen, the narrative is always the same. But I do not fight to seize power or to increase the standing of the Sesklar, or even because I believe I alone can defeat Agrona. I fight to show you that it is possible. Our civilization may have been grown in the Vritra's fetid soil, pruned by their lack of empathy and humanity, and watered in our own blood. Oh wow, she's like getting poetic. Let me reread this. Do not believe the lies you've been told. Anytime an Alacrian dares to voice opposition to this cruel regimen, the narrative is always the same. But I do not fight to seize power or to increase the standing of Sesklar, or even because I believe I alone can defeat Agrona. I fight to show you that it is possible. Our civilization may have been grown in the Vritra's fetid soil, pruned by their lack of empathy and humanity, and watered in our own blood. But it is our civilization, not the Asuras. It is time to cast down our sovereigns. You and only you can claim sovereignty over yourself. That's how sovereignty begins. You have to claim it over yourself. Orloff began to squirm inside his tank, and I sensed a weakening of the shield. I redoubled my efforts, and the flames around me grew. Cecil, the blood pounding in my ears drowned out whatever else Nico had to say, but I was almost there. In a moment, the shield would fall, and when it did, I would use Orlas's captured mana to pull Ceres apart cell by cell. Bro, she is so pissed off at her. She's talking about pulling apart someone cell by cell. I mean, that's like some Agrona shit. Like, I mean, Arthur's never said some crazy ass shit like that. I'm gonna pull you apart cell by cell and set you ablaze into eternal hell or some shit. Man, she seems more like a fucking enemy. or like devilish. I don't fucking know, man. That's some sadistic shit, man. She must have sensed this as well because she suddenly strode toward the tank in the center. A bolt of black energy shot from her hand, shattering the glass. Thick, bluish liquid poured out, spilling across the floor and filling the laboratory with a preservative stench. Orlov's body ripped free from the cables, stabbed into its. Is she killing him? Orlov's body ripped free from the cables and stabbed into his flesh, flopping onto the floor like a corpse. For those of you who do not believe me, Ceres continued, a blade of dark mana manifested in her hand. We can change the narrative of our lives. We can make the sovereigns bleed. The sword flashed, and Orlov's remaining head tumbled across the floor. She's killing this, bro. Coming to rest face up in the slime, sightless eyes staring at me. The shield vanished. Okay, so the shield vanished. So how is Ceres getting out of here? Does she have like a teleportation gate or something? The shield vanished. The ghost fire rushed to my hands, and I met Ceres' eye. She was resigned. But still, she gathered her mana. I thrust out with all that power, exhaling, yeah, I think that's what it is, exhaling in it. Ceres' mana flared, and then she was gone. No! She's having a fucking breakdown, yo. No! I screamed, feeling like time had retched to a sudden halt as I felt the tempest warp. Oh yeah, I knew it. I just said it. I said what did I say? A gate or whatever. So she had a tempest warp. That's what those things are called. As the tempest warp on which she'd been standing pulled her away. I mean, that makes sense. Like the flames flared out and something broke inside me. What? Drugoth roared, lunging forward to where the tempest warp embedded in the floor was now exposed. He said something else, but his words were lost beneath the ringing in my ears. Gravity seemed to be changing, listing slowly sideways like a leaking ship about to sink. Mana was flowing toward. Is she about to like explode and like put everybody in danger or some shit like that? Mana was flowing toward me, smothering me, and I felt like I was sinking below waves that grasped me and tried to pull me under. But my core was worse, so much worse. I was on the ground, although I didn't remember falling. Hands were grabbing at me, gripping my face, forcing my head to turn. But the sharp, panicked features staring back at me didn't line up properly. It should be Nico, I knew distantly in the back of my mind, but it wasn't Nico. Was it Wolfram? A spike of pain pulled my senses away from his pale, sweating face to my core again. It was throbbing, aching, crackling. Is that crackling or no? That's cracking. Oh, is this bitch about to go to another level beyond White Core? No, man, this is some bullshit, yo. The core, oh my god. This is bad. This is bad for everybody if she's about to go beyond White Core, yo. The core, my core, was covered in a spider web of microscopic fissures. Oh my gosh, she's about to go past White Core. But even that was wrong because instead of the mana inside the core, wait. But even that was wrong because instead of the mana inside the core pushing outward, all this mana from the slime covering the floor, the huge lighting blue cylinders, the equipment was seeping into my core. And the pressure was building and building and building, and my core exploded. In an instant, that felt like a lifetime. The white, hard shell of the magical organ dissolved as it was pulled inward. Wait, what the fuck? An instant that felt like a lifetime, the white, hard shell of the magical organ dissolved as it was pulled inward into the inferno of mana that now raged in my sternum. I gasped, breathless, tears rushing down my cheeks. Something was happening outside of me, but I had only the vague sensation of movement, shouting, a burst of magic. Then I was drawn inward again. My core was gone, and all that mana came rushing out in a white explosion. For a moment, I was floating at the center of a blank white universe, as if the blast had wiped the slate clean, leaving behind nothing but me. Then the darkness rushed in and everything went black. What the fuck kind of cliffhanger is this? Okay, hold on, y'all. Hold on. Are you trying to tell me that her core is gone? That it took in too much mana, she got too overwhelmed, and her core exploded. She has no core now. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. No way. I don't believe it. 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 There's no way. You said if that's true, then Tess is officially dead. See, here's my thing. Okay, so my mind is kind of going. If she doesn't have a core anymore, let's just say she doesn't have a core, she doesn't control mana anymore. Um, because obviously Cecilia's not dead. I think that it makes sense, right? This makes sense. It's okay. I can see this happening, right? So let's just assume that her core just exploded and all the mana is just gone or whatever. She can't control mana anymore. She's done, right? Then I can see Tessia coming back even more so now, because what I think will happen is that Agrona will obviously just throw her to the side, right? Agrona will throw her to the side. Nico will be pissed off, and so Agrona just dust her to the side, right? Like, oh, it was a nice try. I tried to bring her back, tried to use her. Oh well, it didn't work out. It is what it is, right? That's Agrona. So, but then I can see Arthur coming up with a way to bring, because now he doesn't have to worry about facing off against Cecilia. He wouldn't have to worry about facing off against her and this whole big fight, this big clash, right? So he wouldn't have to worry about that. So then she can just go to Arthur. Arthur figure out a way to bring Tessia back, and then Tessia comes back and she may not control mana anymore, or maybe Arthur can do some shit where he can like rebuild her core the same way that Cecilia rebuilt Nico's core. Maybe he can figure some shit out like that. But he can bring Tessia back. Maybe she gets her core back, maybe she doesn't, but he can still live happily ever after with Tessia. Like he doesn't, Tessia had to get used to like not having a core, but he'll still be in love with her. He'll still care about her and stuff, and they can still go on throughout their lives. But have kids, all that shit. But it makes it easier now if Cecilia can't manipulate mana and be this big, force. So I can see it happening even more so now. Because before this, how would he fight her? How would he ended up having to try to kill her again or some shit because of how powerful she is. But I just don't think her core is gone, man. I just don't. There's no way. My core was covered in a spider web of microscopic physics. So I thought that she was going to the next stage, because what do we know about when they go to the next? They like their core breaks and then a new shell comes up with because I remember, what was it? It was Arthur that talked about how he had like tiny cracks or whatever all throughout his core, and then it came through and it ended up being white. It exploded, or not exploded, but it broke apart or whatever, and he saw just nothing but a white halo or whatever the fuck. So I thought this one was happening to her, except that it was happening to her white core, and it was going to go to something, I don't know what the fuck can come past white. Like it can't be golden because that's too close to yellow. So like maybe because it goes from black to red to orange to yellow to silver and then white. So maybe it can be like, I don't know, not golden. I don't know what it will come, because even the Asuras have cores. We don't know what their core color is, but the Asuras have cores. So I was thinking for a second. I was thinking like maybe the next stage past White Core could be her core not being her core anymore, but like having it like integrate throughout her entire body. So where she doesn't have a core, it just gets integrated inside her entire body to where, you know, she doesn't need a core anymore. It's like her core is in her blood, or her core is like all throughout her body. You know what I'm saying? So like I was thinking maybe it could do something like that. But the way that she's talking about it is like maybe that is what it is. Maybe she thinks she doesn't have a core anymore and it's over and done with. But maybe what's really happening is the next stage past White Core is that you don't have a core at all, and it like is integrated throughout your entire body, the same way that Asura's mana is integrated throughout their entire body, their blood, their tissues, like their entire body is like just mana powered. And so maybe that's what it is. Maybe her core goes through her entire body. I got thoughts, man. I don't know. But let me see what you guys are saying. That's true. Tessie is dead. Rest in peace. Because if the core is gone, then that means that the beast will, where Cecilia was holding, Tess also gone. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. But maybe the core got integrated inside her entire body too. You know, so we're like she doesn't even. Maybe the beast core. I don't know, man. It can go a lot of different ways. I don't know. Maybe something like that can happen, or I don't know. This is a big ass cliffhanger, man. Like we got 2 big ass cliffhangers. Aurora's Requiem. Yeah, I mean, he could possibly use that, but I don't think that. I don't know, because in order to use Aurora's Requiem, right, you have to have like how he did with like the portal and the gates and shit like that. You have to have the pieces of the original thing, right? So if you don't have the pieces, then he can't bring it back to the original form. Remember back when he was in the with what was it called, Brokebeak, and he was in a wintry island back in the Relic Tombs. He couldn't regenerate the portal because the pieces were missing. So he need to have all the pieces. If her core exploded, the pieces are gone, so he wouldn't be able to bring it back. So I don't think that would work. But I was thinking more like he could come up with, make some new ether art or something that can like reform cores or some shit. Like I said, the same way that Cecilia did. That's what I was thinking. But the beast will being in the core though with Tessia, that's an interesting thing. But I mean, I don't think Tessia is in the. I don't know. She could be in the beast will, and that's the reason why she can't control the beast will and use it, because Tessia is too attached to it and won't allow it. I don't know. She probably went beyond White Core. See, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking she went beyond White Core, Alex. I agree. That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking that somehow the core exploded, but that's the next level of past White Core, is that you don't need a core anymore, and that it gets like integrated throughout your entire body, similar to how the Asura's bodies work. But the Asuras have cores though. They have cores. So I'm thinking that it gets integrated throughout their entire body. And so she doesn't even need a core anymore. Like she can manipulate mana, like using her body, like not even needing a core, like just it's part of her body. But does that make sense? Like through in the story? I mean, it could make sense, but I mean, another thing to think of too is that the Jinn, we don't know if the Jinn had like cores. Like we don't know if the Jinn had actual mana cores. So maybe they did something similar to be able to manipulate ether somehow. I don't know, man. I don't know. But let's see. She probably went beyond White Core. That's integration. She doesn't need a core to use mana anymore. See, X Drake. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that she don't need a core anymore. That's what I'm thinking. I think she has reached a new level of power, unfortunately, or Arthur could somehow put Sylvie's core inside of her. Even the Asuras have a core. I don't think the core is not anymore. I think it's still there, but not physical. Yeah, so y'all pretty much agreeing. So basically, y'all don't think that she doesn't have control over mana anymore, right? Everybody is kind of agreeing that She's not over and done with. She's not about to be tossed to the side like, oh, this is a nice little experiment, but it's not going to work out. Have a nice day, Cecilia. Like, she actually still can control men. Like, she's not done. Everybody's agreeing that she's not done. She's most likely reached the. I'm gonna do a poll. I'm gonna do a poll on this too to kind of see what y'all think, because I don't think she's done. I don't think she's done. I think that if she was done, it would be interesting. It would be really, really interesting if she was done. Like, if she was done and couldn't control mana anymore, and like you took on too much mana and couldn't control it, and then boom, right? If that's really what happened and she get tossed to the side, that would be really interesting as far as the story going forward. Because for one, how would Agrona continue on his whole quest to take over Ephiodus? Like, does he have enough power to be able to do that? And then two, what happens with Tessia coming back? Does she go? Does Cecilia go to Arthur and apologize or some shit? Does Nico go with her or something like that? Yeah, so it would definitely make the story a whole lot more interesting as far as like what is Agrona going to do, because he doesn't have his special weapon. But there's no way all this time and energy and effort that's been put into Cecilia and her getting her memories back and finding out what really happened, and her getting killing Kyros and then the Phoenix, and all this stuff with the shield, and the integration stage that Agrona talks about, how she's going to integrate with the Asura's mana and stuff like that. That's all not about to just go to waste. There's no way that's all about to just go to waste. So I think that she got integrated, or her core like integrated with her, is what I'm thinking. Because she says what? My core was worse, much worse. I was on the ground, although I didn't remember falling. Hands were grabbing at me. It should be Nico. It wasn't Nico. A spike of pain pulled my senses away from his pale, sweating face to my core again. It was throbbing, aching, crackling, which is the exact same thing that happened with Arthur's core when he went from Silver Stage to White Core. The core, my core, was covered in a spider web of microscopic fissures, but even that was wrong, because instead of the mana inside the core pushing outward, all this mana from the slime covering the floor, the huge lighting blue. Wait, so it didn't explode. It imploded. It imploded. What the fuck am I talking about? It imploded. Yeah, because it went inward. Instead of the mana inside the core pushing outward, all this mana from the slime covering the floor, the huge lighting blue cylinders, the equipment was seeping into my core, and the pressure was building and building and building, and my core imploded, not exploded. In an instant, it felt like a lifetime, like the white hard shell. Oh yeah, so yeah, this is 100%. This is 100%. She went to the next stage. I can't even debate it anymore. The white hard shell of the magical organ dissolved as it pulled inward into the inferno of mana that now ravaged my sternum. I gasped, breathless, tears rushing down my cheeks. Something was happening outside of me, but I had only the vague sensation of movement, shouting, a burst of magic, and then I was drawn inward again. My core was gone, and all that mana came rushing out in a white explosion. So wait, so it went inward, right? So it imploded. And then she says all the mana came rushing out into a white explosion. So it imploded and then exploded. So maybe the part that kind of exploded outwards was like the excess mana that couldn't be used to integrate inward. All that mana came, but she said all the mana came rushing out in a white explosion. For a moment, I was floating in the center of a blank white universe, as if the blast had wiped the slate clean, leaving behind nothing but me. So it imploded and then it exploded. See, that's weird. The mana rushed out in a white explosion. See, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. She went beyond white core. Yeah, so I mean, even in Swords of the Core, the next chapter is the last from the current volume, from what I heard. Oh, you're probably right. I mean, these are some big ass cliffhangers. If this is how we're going to leave, it makes sense. It makes sense if this is the last chapter from the current volume because I think because certainly said that he wanted to do 11 volumes. So this would be the 10th volume. So then we got one more volume left, and then that's it. The end of the story. Man, that's crazy. See, I can see this still going on for like at least another volume though. If this is gonna be the end of the story after like the 11th volume, and that's it, I don't know. I'm really curious to see how this ends. But okay, so the next stage is to not have a core. And so I'm guessing it's going to be integrated. Like I said, it's going to be integrated like the Asaurus, and it's going to be like throughout their entire body. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. This is crazy, man. We keep getting left off of all these cliffhangers. So we got this huge cliffhanger. We're probably going to leave here. We're not going to go back to Arthur. There's no way. We're going to go back to, I don't know. We're going to go back to Vidorial. We're going to go back there and maybe see what's going on with like Kara or something. We're not going to go back to Arthur. Maybe we could. That would be great if we did, but I doubt that we do. But so we got this cliffhanger. We got Arthur meeting the rest of the Mestiasaurus and the Beast Glades. So we still got stuff that we got to learn and find out about. It'd be dope if he did like a prequel. If he did like a prequel of the story from like the Jinn and like kind of how they lived, and maybe get more more insight into like how everything transpired between them making the relic tombs and getting destroyed by the dragons and stuff like that. But then all of them didn't die because they still have their ancestors or whatever, or their next of kin or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So it'd be kind of cool if he did like a prequel of that, but I don't know. But yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is so crazy. So Sarah's just kind of just teased her, try to motivate their other armies, try to motivate them to let them see like Agrona doesn't care about you. You're a stepping stone. He cares about being the king of the Asaurus. So she was trying to inject any sort of like lower the morale or get them to turn on each other or whatever, side with her. And so she did all that. Then she left. Cecilia took on more mana again. So not only did she get the Phoenix's mana, she got more of the more of the Vritra mana, and then she got even more Vritra mana from Orloth, which I guess helped her get to the next stage. But it's so crazy. So I guess what Agrona was talking about when he said integration, maybe this is exactly what he was talking about. Integration, it literally integrates with you, like integrates inside of you. So this kind of makes a lot more sense when he says to integrate. So like all the mana, it gets integrated inside of her to where you don't even need the core anymore because everything's integrated. That's why it's like the integration stage. That's crazy. So does that mean that Arthur integrate with Ether? Or does he just continue to keep on making layer after layer after layer to hold more and more Ether? I mean, I highly doubt it because we know that Ether doesn't work the same way that mana does. It's not the same. So it probably wouldn't be the same. So it probably would just have to, he'd just probably have to get more and more layers of Ether around his core to be able to hold more and more Ether. It's probably like that because they're not going to be the same. So this is so crazy, man. I guess my question is, can you guys see anybody else integrating with their mana? So like, could you see the what the fuck? The lances. Could you see the lances going past White Core? Could you see any of the lances going past White Core? Like maybe Byron can go past White Core, maybe what the fuck is her name? I literally just what's her name? Yeah, maybe Ellie. See, Ellie, I don't know. Ellie could go, but she's still at silver right now. Or no, she's not at silver. She's at light yellow. She went to light, or no. Is she light yellow or is she dark? No, I think she's dark silver. Yeah, I think she's dark silver. Am I right? I think she's dark silver. But yeah, so Ellie could probably go. But she still got to get the white core. At least the Lances already are at white core. But maybe Ellie could. But can some of the Lances get past white core though? I'm kind of thinking. Because they still having another thing too. The Lances still haven't gotten any of the bestowals, so they can still get a bestowal and like have more manipulation of mana, maybe more elements or something like that. Maybe be able to use it better or something. So they can still power up with those bestowals too. So that's also another trump card too. That's crazy to think about. But this is so crazy, man. The story can go so many ways. So yeah, there's without a doubt, she's not done with mana. She's integrated with her mana to where she doesn't need a core anymore. And now she's at the next stage. And so now she can go and be more fucking psychopathic and be more crazy and shit. That's so crazy, man. Can you imagine how strong she's gonna be now when she comes back? Like, is she gonna be able to like just create dimensions the same way that Arthur was able to make dimensions and shit using Sylvia's will? Like, is she gonna be able to just like, I don't fucking know. What can she do? Like bring down fucking realities? Like, would she be able to like go dimensions? Would she be able to like warp into dimensions and shit and create portals into dimensions and be able to like if she went into the relic tombs, would she be able to like just manipulate the relic tomb? like would she be able to do some crazy ass shit, man? Like this is so crazy. This is so crazy. Man, I don't know. I don't know where this is gonna go at all. But this is great though. This is a great chapter. I mean, but we don't know. You said it could done with ether or not, man. I mean, we don't know. You know, we know that the and I guess it's right too because the Jinn they use ether, so maybe not. But maybe she can though, because like I said, Arthur can make fucking portals and shit. Maybe she can make a portal to the relic tombs or some shit. I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there because like how much more powerful can you get now? Like she can control mana effortlessly. People can throw mana attacks towards her and she can literally just flat. She can literally control their mana. The only mana that she couldn't control is that people who have much more control over their mana, like the Asuras and shit like that. You know, they have much more control over it to where she can't easily just influence it. So I guess now she can get to the point where she can just easily influence anyone's mana. Like, because she said that she could even take like a regular mage, she could take all the mana out of that person and just get rid of all their mana, like take all the mana out their core and all that shit. Like, I mean, how much more powerful can this crazy ass bitch get? And I'm calling her a crazy ass bitch because that's what she's acting like. She hasn't acted like Cecilia from her past at all. So man, this is so wild. This is so wild. I gotta think. But I will let you guys know this since you guys are here, which I appreciate y'all being here. I did order the book. So the second volume, I got that coming. So I'm gonna review that one. I'm gonna review the second volume and see, kind of how that is. I remember when I reviewed the first volume, I didn't like the fact that it wasn't as high quality as I wanted it to be. Like it was like, you can get it like $20 on Amazon. And like I would have paid an extra $10, $15 to get like a higher quality pages, higher quality cover. Like, I don't know, like it's kind of breaking down. Like even I got the book over here. Even the actual book itself. Even the actual book I got, right? Even the actual book, it's kind of like the pages are already kind of bending. And it's just like, if you like look at the text is like blurry and shit on certain pages. So he didn't like redo all the art, and it just kind of looked like it was like blown up, like zoomed in. So that's why some pages look blurry and other pages don't. So I'm really hoping the next book is actually going to be, it's not going to be higher quality because it's the same price. So I don't even know why I'm thinking it's going to be higher quality, but that's going to be here Monday. And I'm gonna post that and I'm gonna review that one. But I wanted it to be higher quality, man. Like I would pay like $10, $15 to get a higher quality version of the book. You know, like just better pages, better art. Like just redo the art. Like take the time, redo the art, charge a little bit more money for it. I'll buy it. I'll buy it for sure. But what I really want is I want to get the actual novel. If you were to make books I'm much more interested in the actual novel books than the actual comic books, just because a lot of stuff gets left out in the comic. But if once he start making the actual novel, because I don't know if I'm gonna buy all of them, but once he starts making the actual the novel, then I'll buy every single last one. And he needs to make the novel hardcover books, hardcover novel books, man. That would be get some quality art, like some crazy ass nice artwork, and then a quality hardcover. I'll pay what $30 for that. I'll pay $30 for that. But yeah. So the next book is gonna be coming. I like the cover of the next book, but that's gonna be coming, and I'm gonna hope that that's not gonna have like blurry pages and stuff like that. And I'm gonna show you guys how that's gonna look. But other than that, I'm gonna do more reviews of the actual comic. You know, kind of seeing the comparison. I'm still making more reviews of that. I'll probably get another video up of this weekend. Is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna work on it this weekend. But but yeah, man, this is crazy. He said he's gonna stop after volume 10. So if next week's the last chapter, then that means that we're gonna go on a hiatus for a minute. So I guess I gotta just kind of prepare for that. But I don't know. I've been thinking about if I should talk about other stories, if I should just focus on like like webtoons and novels and stuff like that. I didn't start making videos about Solo Leveling. Solo Leveling was my shit. Like I was reading Solo Leveling. That shit was just so hype. It was just nothing but hype. Like this story is more deep. It's more deep and more complex. You got more like character progression, and you got more personalities and stuff like that. Whereas Solo Leveling was just like pure just hype. It was just nothing but just hype. Like Sun Jin Woo just hype, bro. Like that's all it was. Like I remember when we was talking about the what was it like I remember when they was talking about like the national level hunter. I'm just like the national level hunter. So we go from S rank hunter, and we got nation level hunters, and I'm just like, so when he gonna be past the Nick, man? That shit was just crazy hype. But that story is over with now though. So I don't know. I don't know what else to even read about. I remember I was reading a little bit of is it called Omniscient Reader, some shit like that. I was reading a little bit of that, but I kind of got a little bit bored of that though. But I don't know. But T-Bait though, T-Bait's been my shit so far though. But I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm probably gonna just get up out of here and do some more thinking. Do some more thinking about this chapter, man, because we don't. This is so crazy. This is so crazy how strong she's going to be. But anyway, yo, I appreciate y'all coming in and checking out the live reaction to the chapter. Well, this was a really good chapter. Another cliffhanger. I kind of hate the cliffhangers, but next chapter should be hype, depending upon what we get. I hope we go and get Arthur. I really do. But if we don't, it kind of is what it is. I can't make. I'm not writing no stories, so I mean, I can't complain too much. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's it for me, you guys. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.